Hello, I'm Panos Kotzathanasis, and this is ASEAN Movie Pulse Interviews. Today I'm here with John Hsu, whose film Dead Talent Society is currently screening at Neuchatel. How are you, John?
Yeah, good. I pretty much just arrived like 2 days ago and trying to get use of everything. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So, first question for me, almost inevitably,
Yeah.
what do you think happens to us when we die?
Oh, nothing.
Okay, so and your previous movie, Detention, was like, let's say, a serious political horror, but Dead Talent Society is a supernatural comedy. So, what inspired this shift, and where did the idea of a ghost talent show came from?
Yeah. So my first film, Detention, was a psycho horror film, and I got the job because I've been a gamer since I was 5, and they wanted someone who is familiar with the gaming culture to make the film. But fundamentally, I think I'm more like a comedy guy. Like if all my shorts were comedy or satire. So Dead Talent Society is more like me going back to my root.
Hmm.
And I got this idea. I think it was like 4 years ago when I was invited to a horror film premiere, and I usually got easily bored watching horror films because I think the modern horror films they are like most of them are pretty predictable, especially the ones that's counting on jump scares. And I remember when I was in the screening, I was so bored I almost fell asleep. But suddenly there was one scene when I see the ghost in the film was like crawling on the public toilet floor, trying to scare one of the character. But as an audience, I wasn't scared at all. But she's like trying so hard, and I at that moment I feel extremely sorry for her. It's like she's like trying her best, but I know it's going to be a fruitless effort. And I was suddenly like empathizing so much about her, and I started to cry during the screening.
Oh,
Yeah. And
okay.
after the training, yeah, I was like talking to my producer friend, saying jokingly talking about that we should make a film about ghosts and see the horror films from their perspective, and you're going to get a completely different story, and how difficult it is to scare people, and how difficult it is for the ghosts to become famous. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was where the idea came from. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And also, the film is kind of satire, not kind of, it is a satire, I guess. And I felt that you are mocking influencer culture and this whole hunger for fame. So, what is your opinion on this concept?
Yeah, it was like after we got this idea, we have to figure out what we were trying to say with that concept. So me and my co-writer dig into the reason why I feel so sorry about that ghost in the movie, and then I realized that we are pretty much like the ghost. Like as a filmmaker or as someone who make content and is always craving for attention. And also, I'm the generation that witnessed the beginning of social media, and then suddenly everything changed since the like button appeared, and everyone was like doing everything for likes, and that kind of gave us the idea of like we should make this into a metaphor to make it not only about the influencer but about the social media generation in general. So we interview some of the social some of the influencer on social media because we cannot interview ghosts, but fundamentally I think they're the same.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, all right, all right. And also, there is a comment on the generational shift, let's say, like the older Ghost Catherine is having trouble to adapt to the digital age. And can you tell me a bit about that? Do you feel there is a gap between?
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so there is a sharp commentary on like generational shifts, particularly like the older ghost Catherine fails to adapt to digital age. And what is your opinion on this concept? And I'm also thinking, was this subject of the film rooted in something personal?
Hmm. And me and my co-writer also had some time like figuring out what actually happened to me to feel so empathizing with the ghost characters in the film I saw. And then I realized that I actually grew up in a very traditional Asian family, and my parents would encourage me to do anything that can be seen. It's exactly like the the father figure in the film with the new girl's father. And so eventually I think I wrote a lot of my personal experience as an Asian kid into the film, especially there. Remember, there was a cabinet full of trophy in the
Mm
new girl's parents' place,
-hmm.
and my parents' place has exactly the same thing. And
Uh-huh.
when I finally wrote this story, I took a picture at my parents' place and sent it to my production designer and said that you should just make a replica of that. Yeah.
Ah,
It's
okay.
like whenever I went back to my parents, yeah, it's like whenever I went back to my parents' place, that cabinet full of trophy always feel like a shrine to me. It's like the shrine that represent your value. So it's like I usually feel alienated with that thing. It's like sometimes I feel like that is me, but I don't exist if I don't have that. So this film is also my journey of dealing with this issue.
Mm-hmm, hmm. Okay, okay. And also, I felt that the film has a number of, let's say, there are homage elements, like from The Ring and Beetlejuice and What We Do in the Shadows. But also, you can feel that this is a very Taiwanese film. So I was wondering, how did you manage to retain this balance?
Yeah, the thing is that we use a lot of like real urban legend that happened in Taiwan to a lot of the ghost characters in the film, and we found a book about all the urban legend in Taiwan. It's called the Urban Legend, Taiwanese Urban Legend Encyclopedia.
Hmm.
And whenever we need some side character that is like from a famous urban legend, we would just flip a page and see who that is and how do we make fun of it.
Uh,
So pretty much, besides except all the main characters, all the other side characters are actually from the famous urban legends. And besides that, I think we had this idea in mind that we want to make the story as universal as possible, that everyone, even if you're not an Asian audience, even if you're not an influencer, you if you have any kind of anxiety with self-value or the anxiety of want to get recognition from other people, then you'll get this story. That was the idea.
hmm. Okay, so you mentioned an encyclopedia. How many urban legends are there in Taiwan? Do you need a whole book?
I have no idea. Yeah, the whole book is like this thing. It's like it's a big book.
Wow. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
And
and a lot of them have been adapted into films before. So
mm,
we consider those who were being like adapted to a film the successful ones. Yeah.
mhm. Okay, good, good. Okay, and but tell me a bit about this whole world that you built, the Ghost Society. How did you approach this world building aspect?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
How did you build this world, Ghost Society? Let's say both visually and conceptually. And I'm also a bit curious about how did you combine these practical effects with digital ones to achieve that?
Yeah. The world building came from character and a theme that we want to talk about because we know that we want to talk about how much are you willing to sacrifice and how much image are you willing to sacrifice in order to be seen. So the whole world has been built around that idea. It's like a we made it into some kind of a afterlife show business. Like
Hmm.
everyone is like a tab or an agent or an audience, and they would criticize and comment on each other and compete with each other. It's almost feel like the exaggerated version of the real life. So that was the idea of making the world, the afterworld. And also we put in a lot of like a Taiwanese traditional TV show elements, which are usually quite campy. Like it's full of cliche and everyone is like overacting and overreacting to everything. And we utilize that element and style and put into this world to emphasize that all the ghost characters are actually chasing for something that's extremely meaningless. Yeah. And yeah, and in terms of the practical effects and visual effects, our idea with this one is that we don't want it to look extremely polished. It was like a cheap and plastic intentionally because we like what I said, we want to emphasize that uh, even if they want to look glamorous, but the world they're living in is kind of like a campy and plastic world. So we you made a lot of effort to make sure that we made some VFX and practical effect shots that so dedicate you feel you don't see their existence at all.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, okay. And can you tell me a bit what was your approach regarding the editing of the film?
The one thing I wanted to experiment with this with the Talent Society was to try something that's extremely fast paced, especially in terms of Taiwanese cinema, because coming from as a Taiwanese filmmaker, I usually think most of the Taiwanese production has been too slow, and I wanted to try if it's possible to make something that's extremely fast and we're cutting all over the place and make a lot of like jump cuts as well. Probably in the similar style with Edgar Wright or something. Yeah, that's something I always wanted to try, and I think that Talent Society is a project that's suitable for this style.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, we did it anyway, and a lot of people during our development, especially the editing, especially even the editors, sometimes they feel not sure if we can make it this fast. So, but we push it through. Yeah.
Okay, good, good. Okay, and I was wondering, since the film has screened all over the world, last year was in Hawaii, this year is in Neuchatel, how is the audience reception? And is there any difference between the world and Taiwan, how they look at the film?
Yeah, it was quite surprising to me that it was quite well received, like throughout the world, and we got more than 10 audience award already. And I think that overall the reception has been good, and also it was surprising to me that because in the beginning I thought it was quite an Asian story, but it in the end that it was surprising that everyone gets it. I think that at the end of the day, it's more about if you have this kind of issue of self value or self identity, if you are trouble with this issue, then maybe this film can give you some kind of comfort. And the other thing that surprised me is that everyone get that Korean joke. Yeah.
Ah, okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, will the film be on Netflix soon? Did I got that right or no?
I think it's already on Netflix,
Ah, it's
like
already.
internationally.
Ah,
So whenever you are, you can turn on Netflix and watch it.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, last time we had an interview, it was back in 2020, and I asked you about your
Oh,
opinion.
wow.
Yeah, about the Taiwan movie industry. So I'm wondering, what's your opinion now? Has it changed?
Yeah, it's been like constantly changing because of a lot of things like COVID happened and streaming service become mainstream. And I think the for the audience, the the way for they to watch any content is different as well. Like we don't have that many audience as five years ago, and people in the industry are struggling to find a way to get the audience back or trying to find another way to make content. I think we're in a phase of transformation that I think everyone is trying to find a new way to keep making stuff. Yeah,
Hmm.
but I think I'm not that pessimistic about this because I think that I mean it's a change, and you cannot deny the change is happening. So um, I would consider it as some kind of opportunity to reflect on the way we do films, and I mean maybe we can adapt to it to a
Hmm.
degree. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And last question, I guess, future projects. Are you working on anything new yet?
I'm on a long break now.
Hmm.
Like whenever I finish a film, I would stay away from cinema for some times and making sure that what I'm going to do next. I'm not that kind of a filmmaker that always want to make new stuff. I
Hmm.
always need this like long break for several years until I got another new idea.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
And do
So
you
we'll
still
see.
okay, sorry. And do you still play a lot of video games or have you stopped?
Yeah. I've been always a gamer. I think I'm always going to be. So I did use this long break to play a lot of games. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, so thank you very much
Yeah.
for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
And good luck with everything.